SCP-3935 is called Salvation High School. I don't know about you, but my memories of high school, not really fond. I got picked at a lot. I was constantly pressured to make good grades and meet deadlines, and it's a bunch of, I don't want to go back there. Yeah, but I imagine that any SCPs dealing with a high school are going to be horrible, because my high school experience was horrible. Maybe you have a different story. At any rate, we're going to react to this one. It's by SCP Animated. We're going to get to see Dr. Bug, probably. Make sure to subscribe to them, guys. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos, and let's get into this one. Bleachers?
Two 10th grade students report hearing what they described as someone trying to speak under the ground. One of them reports this to her mother, who ignores it.
Is it like a basement? Or like an underground deal?
Several female students report seeing faceless things instead of their own reflections in the mirror. They do not seem bothered by this.
What?
Students arriving to the school notice that the Indiana state flag is more than 3 meters above the top of the flagpole, attached to nothing.
Weird.
When observed, students claim that they can also see 9 female figures hanging by ropes from the flagpole, which disappear immediately after being seen. A custodian reports seeing something standing at the bottom of the pool, staring at him.
Dude, this is creepy. It's like a haunting.
At 7:56 a.m., the entire school hears someone whisper the word "hello" into their right ear.
At the same time?
During a gym class, senior Nate Bennett avoids a dodgeball when it phases through him. As he begins to sink into the floor, he screams for help. Nobody who noticed seemed motivated enough to help him.
What? Alright, Friday.
The principal decides to close the school on Friday.
Yeah.
Inexplicably, the entire student body ignores the principal's orders and shows up to school anyways. Weird. The interior of the school has become non-euclidean. As the students approach the back of the space, they realize they are moving down, not into. In the distance, they see the archway leading to SCP-3935. Suddenly, the entire mass of students shifts 50 meters outside of the space and are suddenly encased in rock and earth.
Oh my God.
The students spend roughly 20 seconds trapped in this area before reappearing back in the school. All students report being the only one in the building and, after wandering through the hallways for a short time, coming across a doorway below a doorway and entering the small sub-basement room.
Like down the rabbit hole?
The students report seeing 3 separate visions.
Alice in Wonderland?
A woman crouched over a body of water, blood surrounding her feet and her arms extended into the water up to her elbows. A farmhouse in the middle of a grove of trees that is burning while 9 humanoid figures hang in the air overhead.
Is it like a haunting?
And a weeping woman digging in a field until her hands begin to rot and fall apart.
Oh my God.
Once the visions subside, a small black humanoid appears. Students hear the entity say the word "hello" again, are immediately surrounded by 9 screaming female figures, and then are suddenly in their own homes.
The sound effects are so good in this one.
One unidentified woman reports witnessing a weeping young woman running back into the school building.
It's like
After
a freaking
following her
haunting,
into the now unlocked sub-basement, she is unable to find the young woman, but is the first to report the collapsed floor.
Right.
Over the next few days, UIU amnestic regimens begin to take effect. Most of the townspeople are readily convinced that the things they saw were hallucinations, as a result of toxic gases blown south from a factory to the north. Sometime after the end of the primary anomalous activity period at the school, an audit of the damage by a contractor discovered the collapsed section of a wall and floor leading to a narrow gap in the foundation. A member of the independent team accidentally slipped and fell into the antechamber near SCP-3935.
He break his legs?
Without a way to easily extract the individual, Their supervisor encouraged them to proceed into SCP-3935 a short distance and see if there was a way out.
Okay.
When the individual did not return from SCP-3935, Foundation personnel embedded in local authorities took over the investigation.
Yeah. Man. Okay, I'm curious, yo.
SCP-3935 is an
This is
extratemporal, extraspatial, non-Euclidean space located beneath the Salvation High School in Salvation, Indiana.
Okay.
While SCP-3935 is the designation for the specific anomaly mentioned, it is believed that the anomaly currently affects the entire town of Salvation.
Okay.
The access point to SCP-3935 proper exists roughly 25 meters below the collapsed section of basement, below the school's pool, in a small antechamber containing a stone arch.
Huh.
The original creator of the arch, or how it became buried so far underground in the first place, are the subjects of investigation.
Sure.
Inscribed on the arch is a phrase in English not believed to exist elsewhere in literature. The way below winds deeper, longer. Unspeakable, its patterns laid. The lost forever, damned to wander. This thing a quiet madness made. The following interview was conducted by Dr. Collingwood in 2002. The subject, Mrs. Valerie Fletcher, was a teacher at Salvation High School during the period of anomalous activity in 1976.
You'll know I'm a horror junkie,
Can
right?
you tell me about your time at Salvation?
Oh, well, you know, I already told you about the memory loss. Just can't seem to string things together anymore. I was a teacher, though, see?
What can you tell me about the town? Anything you remember that stands out?
There were always some people who would tell stories, you know. They...
Yes?
What? Hello?
You were just talking about people telling stories, Mrs. Fletcher.
Oh. The young people would go out into the woods and get themselves all riled up about whatever spook or specter they thought were seeing out there.
Sure.
There were things that were strange. Well, I don't know if they were actually strange, or if it's just my memory giving me trouble again.
What about at the high school? Anything strange ever happen there?
High school?
Where you were a teacher? Salvation High School?
Yes, I was a teacher. I taught English, I think.
Wow. Like, her
Do
brain
you
is...
remember anything strange happening at the school?
No, I mean, nothing out of the ordinary. We did have a child disappear once, I think. The last she was seen was by the pool.
Wow.
And then nobody ever saw them again.
That's crazy,
I
man.
just think, well, I think they ended up saying they just ran away. Some of them were problem children, you know.
How in the world would you
Trouble.
explain that to parents?
And there's just nothing you can do.
Kid went to
Is there
school and
anything
just
else about
vanished.
Salvation you remember?
Oh my god, man.
It all blurs together after all this time. I seem to remember there was one time somebody found a girl. They were strung up in the woods.
Like
Well,
the hanged girls that were...
I don't know why
hearing.
they do anything like that.
One last question, Mrs. Fletcher. After the earthquake, they found a room underneath the basement near the pool.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't. Nobody ever went into that room but the janitors, I think. Just storage. Though, you know,
Not just storage, though.
that girl asked about that room once.
Uh-huh.
She said,
She might have went.
well,
That's probably
she
what
heard
happened.
some things coming from it. She was
Like
very
voices?
interested in it, I think, before she... well, either way.
Thank you again for your time, Mrs. Fletcher.
Weird. Very
Actually,
weird.
before I go, do you think you know anything about this?
Well,
That's 9.
yes, I do.
It's not 7.
Those
I
are
thought it
the-
was 7.
That's the cheerleaders. There were, well, let me think. There were 10 of them, though,
10.
I think. Unless something happened to one of them. There were definitely 10.
So were they the ones that got hanged, or they
The
were
town of
appearing?
Salvation, Indiana has
Weird,
been
man.
evacuated. An fenced
Sure.
2-kilometer quarantine
so.
zone has been established around the center of the town. Roads leading to the nearby town of Eminence have been removed and rerouted.
Sure.
Foundation personnel are to monitor all known travel routes into Salvation for signs of civilians. Any civilians caught attempting to enter Salvation are to be remanded to the custody of local authorities. Cover story 3935.18, Hazardous Waste Disaster, is currently being disseminated.
There we go.
The building containing
Hazardous waste disaster. I
SCP-3935,
wouldn't enter
Salvation
it.
High School, is to be guarded by Foundation security personnel. Under no circumstances are any non-authorized personnel to enter SCP-3935.
Sheesh, man. I imagine, y'all, that there is much, much, much more depth to this story. I want to know. Y'all let me know in the comments. Digging into something like this seems right up my alley, right? So if y'all didn't know, I started this channel as a horror reactions channel and kind of discovered SCP. Then we converted this channel to all SCP, and I still have a horror reactions channel. Those are always linked in the description below, by the way, but it's Zueljin Reacts to Horror. But at any rate, going through this type of SCP reaction is, oh man. You get the creeps, you get the goosies, it's mysterious, you don't know what to expect. That's what I love about that genre and SCPs too, man. The mystery is everything. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Listen, make sure to subscribe to SCP Animated Tales from the Foundation. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos too. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.